In the stillness of a southern Indiana night, I found myself walking home from a friend's house, the moon barely a sliver in the clouded sky. The streets, usually serene in their quaint Midwestern charm, felt unnervingly desolate. My steps quickened, an instinctual response to the unease that prickled at the back of my neck. That's when I first noticed the van. It was old, its paint peeling, the kind of vehicle that seemed to carry its own shadows. It crept along the road with an eerie slowness, its headlights off, as if trying not to be noticed. At first, I told myself it was nothing, just a local returning home late, perhaps forgetting to turn on their lights. But the stillness of it, the way it seemed to lurk rather than drive, set my heart racing. I quickened my pace, trying to convince myself that my fears were unfounded. Yet as I glanced back, the van suddenly accelerated, its engine growling in the quiet night. Panic surged through me. I broke into a run, my breath coming in sharp gasps. The van matched my speed, a silent predator in the darkness. In a moment of desperation, I darted down a side street, hoping to lose it. The van hesitated, then turned to follow, its movements more aggressive now. My mind raced, terror mingled with confusion. Why me? What did they want? As I rounded another corner, the van's side door slid open, and a chilling scene unfolded. A dim light from within revealed two figures, one seemingly struggling against the other. The sound of a muffled cry pierced the night, followed by the unmistakable crack of a gunshot. I froze, horror gripping me, the echo of the shot reverberating in the silent streets. I hid behind a parked car, my heart pounding in my chest. The van's engine idled menacingly close. Through the darkness, I caught snippets of a disturbing conversation from the van's occupants, words that hinted at rituals and sacrifices, a cult hidden within the shadows of ordinary life. Their tone was casual, as if discussing the weather, making it all the more terrifying. With a burst of courage born from desperation, I recorded a brief video on my phone, hoping to capture their license plate or any distinguishing feature. But the van was unmarked, as anonymous as its intentions. Then the van moved, circling like a shark in the water. I realized my time was running out. I needed to escape, to get somewhere safe where I could alert the authorities. Summoning every ounce of strength, I sprinted for my hiding place, darting through alleys and backyards, the van's engine a constant growl behind me. Somehow, I made it home, the van disappearing into the night as suddenly as it had appeared. I was safe, but the terror of that night haunted me. I reported the incident, describing the van and its occupants in as much detail as I could. The police were sympathetic but skeptical, their interest peaked only when I mentioned the conversation about the cult. Investigations began, and what they uncovered was more disturbing than I could have imagined. The van had been sighted across the country, its appearances linked to a series of missing persons reports. Each sighting was accompanied by similar stories of fear, pursuit, and narrow escapes. The van, it seemed, was only the tip of the iceberg, a mobile unit for a cult that had woven itself into the fabric of American life, hidden in plain sight. Their beliefs were dark and ancient, a twisted doctrine that demanded sacrifice and promised power to those who were willing to embrace the darkness. As the investigation deepened, I found myself drawn into a world I never knew existed. The cult's roots were deep, their influence far-reaching. They had infiltrated communities, leaving behind a trail of fear and mystery. The authorities were closing in, but the cult was always one step ahead, their rituals and gatherings shrouded in secrecy. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had been marked, that my escape had made me a target. The thought of being hunted, of being part of some dark ritual, was a constant shadow over my life. I began to see signs everywhere, symbols that seemed to mock my fear, reminding me that I had glimpsed something meant to stay hidden. My life became a blur of paranoia and dread. Every van on the street, every stranger's glance, seemed to carry a sinister intent. I dove into research, trying to understand the cult, to find some way to protect myself. The more I learned, the more I realized how little I knew, how deep the darkness went. Then came the night when everything changed. I was followed home again, but this time I was prepared. I had set up cameras, collected evidence, anything that could help me prove the reality of the threat. As I watched the footage, my blood ran cold. The van was there, but so were other vehicles, a convoy of shadows that parked just outside my view. The cult had found me, and they were not going to let me go easily. I knew I had to act, to confront this terror head-on. With the evidence I had gathered, I went to the authorities, demanding action. The response was a mix of disbelief and fear, but the undeniable truth of the video footage spurred them into action. A task force was assembled, a secretive operation to infiltrate and dismantle the cult. I was asked to participate, to use my knowledge and experience to guide them. It was a chance to fight back, to end the nightmare that had taken over my life. The operation was fraught with danger. We delved into the heart of the cult's sanctum, a place where reality seemed twisted, where shadows moved of their own accord. The rituals we witnessed were unspeakable, the air thick with the scent of fear and death. In the climax of our confrontation, we faced the cult leaders, their eyes alight with fanaticism. The battle was fierce, the outcome uncertain. But in the end, we prevailed. The cult was dismantled, its members arrested, their dark practices exposed to the light of day. I returned home, weary but victorious. The threat was over, but the scars remained. The experience had changed me, shown me depths of darkness I had never imagined. Yet in facing that darkness, I had discovered a strength I never knew I possessed. The world seemed a little brighter, the shadows a little less menacing. I knew that evil still lurked in the corners of the world, hidden in plain sight. But I also knew that courage and determination could shine a light in the darkest places, could uncover truths meant to remain hidden. As I settled into the quiet of my home, the terror of that night in southern Indiana felt like a lifetime ago. Yet it was a part of me now, a reminder of the fragility of safety and the power of fear. But more than that, it was a testament to the strength of the human spirit, to the courage that rises in the face of darkness. The story of the van and the cult would live on, a chilling tale of horror and heroism. But for me, it was more than a story. It was a journey through the night, a battle against the shadows, and ultimately, a victory over the darkness that sought to consume me.